Welcome to This Explainer. So, if you're diving into the foundations of Christianity for your religious studies class, or, if you just want to understand the absolute most important time in the Catholic Church calendar, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to walk step by step through a pretty dramatic narrative today, one of sacrifice, profound darkness, and ultimately incredible hope. Let's jump right in.
Okay, to start us off, I've got a quick question for you. What are the three most important days in the Catholic Church? A lot of people just automatically assume it's Christmas. And honestly, that makes total sense, right? But for our framework here, it's actually absolutely vital to know that the true, rock-solid foundation of the Christian faith unfolds over a very distinct, incredibly solemn 3-day period in the spring. Here's our agenda for this journey. First, we'll look at the 3-day journey as a whole. Then, Maundy Thursday. Number 3, Good Friday. 4, Holy Saturday. And finally, Easter Sunday.
Section 1, the 3-day journey, defining the core beliefs. Right, so the absolute crucial starting point here is the Paschal Mystery. Think of this as the core theological belief that Jesus' death and resurrection actually brings salvation to everyone. Basically, in the simplest terms, this is seen as the ultimate solution to human sin. It's the big why behind everything we're about to discuss. Everything that happens over these next 3 days is literally a physical acting out of this exact mystery. Building right on top of that, we have the Easter Triduum. Fun fact, the word Triduum is literally just Latin for 3 days. And this is the actual chronological period we're exploring. It kicks off on Holy Thursday evening, stretches through the immense suffering on Good Friday, and wraps up with the triumphant resurrection on Easter Sunday. The whole thing is strictly dedicated to remembering the final days of Jesus' life. It's really best to think of this timeline not as 4 totally separate events, but as a single continuous journey. You start on Thursday evening and you're just propelled forward, straight through Friday and Saturday, right into Sunday. The tension builds, drops into profound sorrow, and then finally rises into this massive celebration. Moving on to Section 2, Maundy Thursday, Servant Leadership. So what happens on Maundy Thursday? Well, the physical actions of the service teach a really profound lesson. Catholics celebrate the Mass of the Lord's Supper, remembering when Jesus gave his disciples bread and wine, which obviously reminds them of the Eucharist. But crucially, there's also the washing of the feet. And why does this matter so much? Because by washing his disciples' feet, Jesus is showing just incredible humility. He's demonstrating exactly how to be a servant leader, literally putting others before himself right before his greatest trial even begins. Then, at the end of this Mass, the environment inside the church just drastically changes. The altar is completely stripped bare. All the decorations are entirely removed. On top of that, the Blessed Sacrament is taken away to a special side altar for quiet prayer. This super stark, empty visual is a clear signal. It marks the beginning of Jesus' passion, his impending suffering. The whole mood of the space shifts entirely. Section 3, Good Friday, Ultimate Sacrifice. Talk about a stark contrast. For the only time in the entire year, there is absolutely no Mass celebrated on Good Friday. Instead, Catholics gather for the Liturgy of the Passion, where the story of Jesus' suffering and death is read aloud. And if people receive Holy Communion, they're actually receiving bread that was consecrated the night before. Why does this matter? Well, it forces a pause. It's a day of intense prayer, profound silence, and fasting, all specifically aimed at remembering Jesus' death on the cross. Now, a central, highly physical ritual on Good Friday is the veneration of the cross. Parishioners will literally step forward to kneel before or even kiss a wooden cross. In a setting that's already marked by silence and fasting, this physical gesture becomes a really powerful way to show deep respect and immense gratitude for that ultimate sacrifice. Section 4, Holy Saturday, Out of Darkness. The sensory experience of the Easter Vigil is just incredibly powerful. Imagine standing in a church that is completely pitch black. It starts in total darkness until a single massive new Paschal candle is lit. Then, that flame is shared, slowly illuminating the entire space. The Great Easter Proclamation is sung, and Bible readings tell the whole story of salvation. Beautifully, this is also when new members are often baptized, literally stepping into their faith right as the light returns to the church. And then, the long silence and musical restraint of Lent is finally broken. The Gloria and the Alleluia are joyfully sung aloud for the first time in weeks. Why? Because this marks the absolute most joyful night in the entire church calendar. It celebrates Jesus' resurrection and his ultimate victory over death, officially marking the start of the Easter season. Section 5.
Easter Sunday, joyful hope.
If you walk into a Catholic church on Easter Sunday, the atmosphere has completely transformed from the barrenness of Good Friday. It's a night and day difference. You'll see incredibly joyful masses specifically celebrating the resurrection. The churches are suddenly just overflowing with bright flowers and jubilant music. The Alleluia rings out constantly. The period of mourning, it is entirely over. Understanding exactly why this celebration is so massive is really the key to everything we've discussed today. This immense joy stems directly from the core belief that Jesus rising from the dead actually proves that death is not the end. It provides the ultimate hope of eternal life. Quite simply, without this event, the faith wouldn't even exist. It is the absolute foundation of Christianity. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a thought to ponder. We've walked through the what and the why, right from the humility of washing feet to the darkness of the cross, and finally to the blinding light of the resurrection. Consider this. How does this paschal mystery, experienced through this ancient three-day narrative, continue to shape the worldview, the hope, and the actions of literally billions of people today? Thank you so much for learning with me, and keep exploring.